Alright, strap in your ATs, because today we're talking about one of the wildest, most stylish, and most underrated anime from the mid-2000s, which is Air Gear. This is the story of flying rollerblades, gang wars, and main characters who said physics, never really heard of it. And honestly, this show deserves way more love, and probably a reboot while we're at it, but, let's just dive right in. So what is Air Gear anyway? Imagine Fast and Furious and Tony Hawk's Underground and Shonen Jump had a chaotic baby, and that's basically Air Gear. The story follows Itsuki Iki Minami, a hot-headed middle schooler who discovers a hidden world of storm riders. People who use special rollerblades called ATs that let them literally fly. But it's not just skating trick, it's a full-on underground sport with teams, ranks, battles called parts wars. Every rider chases their own road, a kind of personal philosophy tied to their freedom, their skill, their identity. It's not just a sport, it's like their way of life. What makes Air Gear so cool is it's so ridiculously stylish, it's deeply metaphorical, it's the thoughts that are going on in the characters' heads. It's beautiful to see their philosophy of what they see ATs as. Now, the characters are absolutely legends. Iki, the loud, chaotic protagonist who somehow gets stronger every time he gets his butt kicked. Kazu, the heart of the team. Onigiri, the comic relief who somehow is always naked. I don't know why that keeps happening. And then we got Agito and Agito, literal split personalities. One a sweet cinnamon roll and the other is chainsaw on skates. But my favorite, Ringo, the queen of subtle heartbreak. Can we talk about the soundtrack though? Air Gear had one of the hardest anime soundtracks of the 2000s. Back on Chain to skate funk graphics and all those acid jazz and breakbeat tracks. It was pure 2000s energy. It feels like it was made to be played at 2 a.m. while you're skating down Tokyo rooftop. Even now, people who've never seen a show still have the OST in their playlist. That's really how good it was. Now here's where it gets deeper. Air Gear isn't just about skating fast. It's about freedom, rebellion, and chasing your own road, chasing your own philosophy. Every Storm Rider has a unique road that represents their soul. So some roads are about strength, some are about speed, and some are about dominating gravity itself. But the main idea, it's about breaking the limits that the world puts on you. Iki doesn't just skate, he flies. He literally fights society, laws of nature, and fear. And that's why the show hits so hard. Because beneath the fan service and the comedy, it's all about breaking free of what holds you down. Air Gear's message is don't just roll through life, fly through it. And it sounds corny, but that's really what life is all about. Alright, so let's be real. Air Gear needs that reboot. Not a remake, not a movie, a full-on modern adaptation. The original anime came out in 2006, and while it was solid for its time, it ended way too early, not even halfway through the manga. The original anime came out in 2006, and it looked solid for its time, but it ended way too early, not even halfway through the manga. We never got to see the Genesis arc, the kings of ATs, or how insane the powers eventually got. Imagine today's animation studios like Mappa, Bones, and even Trigger handling those sky battles with full 3D motion capture. That original soundtrack remastered, that would break the internet. Genuinely, that would be one of the top. They would be one of the top animes out. And let's be honest, the themes of Air Gear hit harder today than ever. Freedom, expression, and fighting systems that keep you grounded. That's not just anime. That's just real life. But also, this show is hilarious. You'll be thinking about metaphors and philosophy one minute, and then the next minute, Iki is fighting some pervert sumo wrestler with a diaper on. I don't know why that happens, but for some reason that does happen. Air Gear walks that perfect line between absurd and profound, and it's the kind of show that doesn't really care if you get it. It just wants you to really feel it, and that's really what it is. I think I love this show so much because I feel this show. Air Gear may have came and gone too soon, but its energy never died. It influenced animes like Skate to Infinity, Get Backers, and even Kill la Kill to a degree. All shows that mix style and identity and rebellion together. For real, Air Gear wasn't just about skating, it was about believing you could soar when the world told you you're gonna crawl. So yeah, I think Air Gear was funny, wild, philosophical, and ridiculously cool, and it's long overdue for a reboot. And until then, I'm gonna keep blasting that soundtrack like there's nothing else I could listen to. So, and pretending my old Heelys can basically make me fly, which I do ride Heelys every now and then. But seriously, for me, Air Gear meant so much more than just a silly anime that came out in 2000. It was one of those shows that, when it came out, I really knew that what it meant to make my own philosophy, make my own worldviews. And I feel like I could have learned that anyway, but Air Gear just happened to be the show that I was watching when I started learning my worldviews. And when I hear Iki say he wants to fly, all I hear is he wants to define his own life. He wants to make his own freedom. When I hear about Air Gear and I hear about what every character wants to accomplish, Agito wants to feel needed. He wants to feel like he is important. He wants to feel loved. He wants value. I love that Kazu doesn't want to be in Iki's shadow. That was a huge one for me because back in the day, I always felt like that I was going to be in the shadow of my friends. And seeing that every character's road is really just their way of explaining their life and explaining why they do what they do, it just makes the show that much better. I love the world. I feel like the world was so beautiful, and it really reminds me of Jet Set Radio. And Jet Set Radio back in the early 2000s was one of my favorite games. I just love that I got to see characters feel so free, but at the same time, I got to enjoy a beautiful soundtrack, a beautiful story, and characters that mean so much to me. I don't know if you're an Air Gear fan, I know there is probably a cult following somewhere for this show, and I would love for you to take the ride and watch some other animes and see what else is out there. And hopefully one day we can get Air Gear back on TV. I would love to see a reboot for this show. I feel like there's so much untapped potential with the manga, and things get so much more crazy if you actually go deeper into manga, going against Sora, the Genesis group, the Sleeping Forest. Like, everything comes together so nicely as you read it. And yeah, it gets convoluted somewhere through, but I think with a proper remake and a proper reboot or a proper reboot, we can actually iron out all the kinks that the manga ended up having towards the end. And maybe we can even get possibly a sequel. That's what I would love to see. But honestly, where is your head at for a sequel to Air Gear? And where's your head at for the next animes that you've been watching?